Okay, we should be live right now. We should be live. Yes, we are. So we're going to be in live right now. If you guys have not are watching this after, I'm going to talk about a couple of topics. So we got Fever making the playoffs. We're going to be talking about the Mercedes Russell thing. Um, we're going to be talking about um, like Jose Fernandez with Caitlin. We're going to be talking about Phoebe being back. We're going to be talking about the ref screwing Caitlin against Dallas. And obviously something that's going on with the WNBA teams, with them all being, well, with NBA teams being sold and WNBA teams basically, because of that, WNBA teams being sold as part of that, and sports being a bubble, that with team valuations not continuously going up, what this kind of means for the CBA and some other things. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. So we got a lot more topics to talk about tomorrow, and those topics are obviously kind of bigger. It's just I've got an hour and then I have to leave, and then I'm flying. And I'm not even around for the Fever game later. So we're going to talk about this. The Fever are officially in the playoffs. They are officially in the playoffs. They AI'd one of the players, which is objectively hilarious. I don't know why they kind of brought her in, the dev player, but like they AI'd her in. I do still think that they could have surely brought in a dev player that would play. Like, there has to be dev players around that would play. And like, if they're not going to play, why not bring in Hannah Stokey? Unless Hannah Stokey just didn't want to be it. Because, like, we've seen from Sydney Taylor that getting a training camp spot and getting cut if you're not quite good enough yet doesn't seem to be the move. And again, Sydney Taylor, I'm talking about a Sydney Taylor video tomorrow. I just don't have the time today. If I had 2 hours, I'd be making a Sydney Taylor video. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah. So pretty much we have got a very, very, very good season so far for the Indiana Fever. And look, to clinch the playoffs this early, the problem is with the seeding. And I think the Indiana Fever have a puncher's chance against anybody, including Minnesota. Why? Because they employ number 22. And when she's going off, I've said this tons of times, like when Caitlin is going nuclear, you just win. Like, there's nothing you can do to stop Caitlin Clark going nuclear as a team. If Caitlin Clark is going off, and because Kelsey Mitchell does does Kelsey Mitchell things. I'm going to be honest. Kelsey Mitchell does Kelsey Mitchell things. I love Kelsey Mitchell. Like, she is going to score the ball, and she is going to score the ball probably better than any player in the league. Period. I think she's a better scorer than Angel Wilson. But like, that is what she is. Like, a team being ran by, like, with a one-dimensional scorer as their 1A is never a good team, unless they're built like Allen Iverson Sixers, which is kind of what they were in the playoffs last year. This gritty team, we're going to make it low-scoring games, and we're going to have just this one scorer who's going to give us 30 no matter what the circumstance is, and that's Kelsey Mitchell's superpower. That is Kelsey Mitchell's superpower, but let's be very clear. The Fever's title hopes come down to Caitlin Clark, how well Caitlin Clark is playing. Because if Caitlin Clark, and in Caitlin's defense, like, in Caitlin Clark's defense, she was really, really good in the playoffs 2024. Game 2, anyway. Game 2. And it's one of those things now where, like, I'm confident she'll step up in the playoffs. I'm confident after last year, Kelsey will step up. KK, I think, is going to step up. And I think Lexi in the playoffs, those hustle plays matter more in the playoffs. Like, nobody cares about your contract and what it does in the regular season. I don't even care if she misses shots. Just make a couple of hustle plays. And who knows, today might be the day where Lexi Hull figures it out. Because, I'm sorry. If the other Hull City can go out with a team where they have more Leeds Academy, where they're basically the Leeds rejects, and we're not particularly good, and beat the scum of Manchester, then anything can happen with Lexi Hull. If that Hull can win, hell, this Hull can pick it back up. But when they clinched the playoffs in 2024, we remember vividly how much this team shut down. How they shut down. They didn't even come close to beating a playoff team after that. Until game 2 of the playoffs. They got killed by the Lynx. Got killed twice by the Aces. They lost. The Mystics didn't really matter, but it's like, oh yeah, look, we beat the we beat the Sparks and the Wings, who were the 2 worst teams in the league. It was like, once they clinched the playoffs in 2024, they forgot how to play basketball. Christy Sides was like, everything that got them there, they went away from it. And I hope that doesn't happen this year. I really, really hope that doesn't happen this year. Because if they, like, seeding matters. And, like, you're in home. Right now, have home court advantage. But that might not be there for too long. Like, you're a half a game ahead of Atlanta, and you're only 2 games ahead of New York. If they lose tonight, which, again, I'm not going to be live for, but if they lose tonight, they're only 1 game ahead of New York. They've probably lost a tiebreak, and Atlanta go ahead of them on a tiebreak, I think. Suddenly they go to seed 5, pushing seed 6. And then you're just like, oh shit. Oh shit. You're then facing a super informed Chicago team, probably without Caitlin Clark. Because let's be very clear, like, after some of the Dejanay shit, like, I don't think they'll want to play Caitlin. You're playing New York today, probably without Aaliyah Boston. And it's a really, really tough one. But ironically, if I'm the Indiana Fever, I would rather, like, I'd rather get home court advantage, regardless, because I still think you can beat the Minnesota Lynx. I also have this weird feeling that in a best of 3, the Dallas Wings could take out the Lynx, or the Washington Mystics could take out the Lynx in a best of 3. Like, we saw Golden State give them trouble last year. We saw Phoenix Mercury the Taurasi Mercury give them trouble. If Fee averaged 30 points a game in that playoff series instead of 40 points a game in that playoff series, like, Taurasi's Phoenix Mercury beat them. So we've seen this team struggle a little bit. But yeah, the Fever need to pick it up a little bit. They just don't. They cannot do what they did in 2024. They just can't. If they start doing what they did in 2024, it becomes a bit of a problem. It becomes a really, really, really big problem. And we just can't have that. We just cannot have a situation where this team is out there bullshitting because they made the playoffs, which, again, they did last year. The Minnesota Lynx didn't really care, and the Fever were fighting to get the 6. But, like, what you can't do is fall asleep at the wheel. And I'm scared after what the Fever did in 2024 that they might go and do that again. I really, really am scared they might go and fuck it again and pull off the, forget how to play ball once they make it. But again, there's different expectations here. There is absolutely different expectations here. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys. So, where are we going? What are we doing? I'm trying to get my second topic. We're getting through them quickly here. We're getting through these topics quickly here. Um. Oh yeah. So we really have to talk about the referees in this game. From the Dallas Wings versus the Indiana Fever. Like, how were they so bad? Like, Caitlin Clark got like rugby tackled. She got tackled from behind. And the worst part is one possession earlier. Like, for people being like, oh no, like this is just a play, you play on. This happened one possession earlier. One possession earlier. This happened. So this has happened at the start of the game as well. This was 2 of Caitlin Clark's turnovers, where hers is getting mugged. And I love it as well, people being like, oh, Caitlin's turnovers are why they lose. And it's like, well, she had one of her worst games of her career. She had 3 turnovers to 9 assists, and 2 of her turnovers were this happening. That's not a foul, Jesus. That's a hit to the face, and that's a grab on the arm, and that's a 3rd foul, and that's a 4th foul. She got hit in the face, and then got fouled 4 times, and then breathes on another player, and it's a foul. Like, breathes on another player, and it's a foul. And then this situation right here is the most blatant flagrant I've ever seen. She got tackled. Like, there's no other way of describing it. They tackled her. This isn't a slip. This is a we are grabbing Caitlin and just taking her. This is a takedown. This is a takedown. This is how a player gets hurt. Not only that, the Paige one could not have been more obviously a flagrant foul. So I get it. Paige tried to commit a take foul because they had one to give on Caitlin Clark. I get that. But when you've mistimed the take foul so badly that you're yanking someone's arm out of their socket and then go back for more, it's a flagrant foul. Caitlin absolutely should have been called with a tech for retaliation. It should have been flagrant foul Paige, technical foul Caitlin. So look, you can't go back for more. Like, you can't go back for more. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, first of all, that is a flagrant. She's nowhere near you. Let me yank her arm back. That is a flagrant. And then, when the ref doesn't call it, going back for more. You can't do that. Like, first of all, the ref didn't call the double arm yank. That was a no call. The double arm yank was a no call. I don't understand how that was a no call. Also, Caitlin Clark absolutely, deserved a T. There's a thing, that is an obvious T, but it's the same referee just staring at Caitlin, being like, yeah, these are not fouls. These are not fouls. The two-handed arm yank was given as a no call. Like, that is again, there's no way Paige meant to do that. It doesn't matter. Take fouls, intentional take fouls being brought up to flagrants is normal basketball. Like, a take foul is an intentional foul. If you mistime an intentional foul, it's a flagrant. Simple. And again, if you wanted to call that as a regular foul, it's a wrong call. But it was a no call. It is a mistimed take foul. And I get it. Again, it is a mistimed take foul. Caitlin Clark has been given a flagrant for a mistimed take foul. Angel Reese has been given a flagrant for a mistimed take foul. Everyone who's played basketball has been given, flagrants or unsportsmanlikes or techs for mistimed take fouls. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. It happens. Those type of things happen in basketball. And someone said it's not Paige's fault the ref isn't making the call. No, but it's Paige's fault that she mistimed so egregiously that she yanked somebody's arm. So basically, Paige tried to just foul Caitlin on the floor, but Caitlin got away from Paige, so Paige still decided, okay, I'm going to yank her arm then. That is a flagrant. Paige is not in the MVP conversation. What are we talking about? Paige is so far from the MVP conversation. Like, I think the MVP conversation is a two-man race with Caitlin and Kelsey at kind of the edges of that, being like, okay, if Caitlin rattles off the best 8-game stretch in WNBA history to end the season, then obviously, she's back in the conversation. But realistically, it's between Miles and Asia right now. Paige is in a dogfight with Stewie for all W first team. 4 of the W first team are set in Caitlin, Liv, Kelsey, and Asia, and it's Paige in a dogfight with Stewie in what's a very close one. But like, it is genuinely one of those things where I'm like, how, as referees, can you get so many calls wrong consistently against one player? Consistently. Like, look, the referee, this was a no call. This is a flagrant foul. If it's called as a immediately, we're blowing this whistle, but this was a no call. So Paige had to go back for more. Like, so that she would be able to commit her take foul. There's no malice in this, by the way. And there's none whatsoever. But it's the year of 2026. It is the year of 2026. Referees have to protect players. Refs have to protect players. The tackle is an obvious flagrant. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The tackle is a flagrant. The 2 turnovers for her getting mugged are common fouls, but it's the same referee staring at both of them. The one early in the game, I think one of Caitlin's turnovers was an actual turnover. 2 of Caitlin's turnovers were literally her getting mugged. So she had 2 of them, and Caitlin ended the game with 0 free throws. She had a free throw from a defensive 3 seconds. Caitlin ended this game with 0 free throws. 0. She was flagrantly fouled twice and ended the game with 0 free throws. And I get it. Caitlin was garbage. Let's not pretend like she played well. But like, come on now. Like, you can also make the point that it's pretty difficult to play given in this environment. The environment matters. That being said, again, bad game by Caitlin all around. I don't think the refs getting these 2 calls right really changes anything. In the game, Caitlin still plays bad. It just, the rim just wasn't there. Maybe seeing a free throw goes in helps her, but that being said, she was super good. She was super duper good. She was super good in the first quarter, and then just kind of went bad. So it wasn't seeing the ball going through helps her, but still, awful game with referees. Awful game. So yeah. I also need to talk about this right now. And everybody thinks this is some knock on Kelsey Mitchell. It's actually not. Like, so this has been the Indiana Fever's post All-Star break situation. Sorry, well, not post All-Star, August situation. And they went on a big 5-game win streak. So they're 5-3 in August. And of their 3 losses, Kelsey Mitchell's averaging 35 a game in their 3 losses. Kelsey Mitchell is averaging 25 a game in their wins. And I don't think people kind of get this. When Kelsey Mitchell drops 30 points this season, the Indiana Fever are 2-4. They're not even they are not a good team when Kelsey Mitchell drops 30, and that's not a knock on Kelsey Mitchell, because we have to look at this in a different way. There's correlation, there is causation. Kelsey Mitchell is the best scorer on this team. We're not questioning that. Kelsey Mitchell is absolutely the best scorer on this team. And this team does not go anywhere without Kelsey Mitchell. They don't. But what is the common denominator with the 3 losses? The common denominator with the 3 losses is bad Caitlin Clark, awful Caitlin Clark game, bad Caitlin Clark game, bad Caitlin Clark game. Well, I'm not going to say Minnesota's a bad Caitlin Clark game. It was bad by MVP standards, but like she was all right against Minnesota. She was okay. But if you look, Chicago, New York, Dallas, Atlanta, Toronto, exceptional in 4 of those 5, and an unbelievable first half against Toronto. So the Indiana Fever need both. There is no question about it. The Indiana Fever need both Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell if they want to win a title. You don't win a title. We've seen how much Caitlin Clark struggles, how much this in Stephanie White's system without another ball handler, someone to just take a little bit of the sting out of the game, somebody to be able to create, because Caitlin can't create the whole time, especially with no pick and roll. She can't just ISO for 4 quarters. Because we've seen, again, when the 2 of them are on the floor, the better player is 90% of the time Caitlin Clark. When in their wins, when the 2 of them are on the floor, they're better with Caitlin. Albeit, they are better, for example, with if Kelsey Mitchell is on with the bench, they're better than if Caitlin's on with the bench, if you get me. So the problem is that the teams that are willing to let Kelsey Mitchell go drop 40 tend to be the teams that beat the Indiana Fever. It tends to be the case that when Kelsey Mitchell it goes off, the Fever lose. Why is that? Because Kelsey dropping 40 tends to happen. It does tend to happen, not every time, but it tends to happen in games where she is predominantly getting her points in isolation situations. Where she is predominantly getting her points in the team are struggling, I'm going to put them on my back. And it's one of those things where you can win playing like that, but you need a certain lineups to win playing like that. And if that is the way the Fever are going to play, you bench Caitlin Clark. If you are, as a team, going to go ISO Kelsey, have Caitlin sit her ass on a bench. Because we've seen how the lineups where ISO Kelsey works. And it's with Ty Harris. It's with the playoff lineup last year. I don't think ISO Kelsey works necessarily with Caitlin Clark. And that's kind of where the problem is. Where when you have games where it feels like they're almost playing against each other, where you are running through Kelsey, we see Caitlin struggle to get any rhythm. And then we see Caitlin trying to force rhythm. And you see all of that stuff. And Caitlin trying to force rhythm is not really, is a weaker player. I think we can all admit that. And it is a real tough one when it comes down to it. To see how, it's such an obvious thing where it's you can run two Kelsey. Kelsey Mitchell should be taking the most shots on this team. She absolutely should be. You run through Caitlin Clark. And that is the problem we've seen in losses, is they're trying to run through Kelsey. I'll give the Minnesota game running through Caitlin because they did for a large chunk of that game. But there is a massive correlation between Kelsey Mitchell going off and the Fever losing. And the weirdest thing is that when Kelsey Mitchell goes off and the Fever win, it's normally when Caitlin Clark isn't there. And look, this is a small sample size. This team wins nothing without both of them. They win nothing without both of them. Like, when the two of them are on the floor, most of the time, their main offense is Caitlin Clark. And it rightfully is Caitlin Clark. Because, why? Nobody generates more open shots in this league than Caitlin Clark. Nobody does. And the problem is, again, we saw against Dallas, Caitlin not really scoring in rhythm. Caitlin not able to get any rhythm, missing a lot of shots. She was bad. Like, Caitlin was objectively bad against Dallas. And the shots she was taking where it was one shot every 3 to 4 minutes. And if you know anything about Caitlin, it's like she scores in bunches. She might have 15 points halfway through the second quarter and then not score again till the fourth quarter and then give you 10 straight. And the problem is like when it is the Kelsey Mitchell show. And by the way, the Indiana Fever lose that game by 30 without Kelsey Mitchell. Let's not question that. Like, this is not a knock on Kelsey Mitchell. This is just pointing out the fact that playing through Caitlin Clark to Kelsey Mitchell is much better than playing through Kelsey Mitchell. And I get it down the stretch if you want the ball in Kelsey Mitchell's hands, because she can go one-on-one to the basket, and if you try to steal the ball in Kelsey, she's going to burn you. I get that in those scenarios. But over the course of the game, if you go and the more the ball is in Kelsey Mitchell's hands, the more the Indiana Fever tend to struggle. Like, when Caitlin Clark, if you take away Caitlin Clark's assists, I think the Fever have the least assists all time in the WNBA, minus Caitlin Clark's as a team. And the thing with Kelsey Mitchell is that, as you can see, Kelsey Mitchell's still averaging 25 points per game. In games where Caitlin is dominating the ball, dominating everything about the game. And the big thing about that is that Kelsey Mitchell, as you can see, in losses, she's averaging 4 assists per game. In wins, she's averaging 2. She averages 25 and 2 in wins in August. She's averaging 35 and 4 in losses. So obviously the ball's in her hands more. And it is genuinely a case where Kelsey Mitchell can give you like 25 a game as an off-ball cutter and do it on equal efficiency. She's going to get her 25 anyway. She's that good. She is that good. The problem is that sometimes when she gets her 35, it becomes not even that becomes a situation where Caitlin's struggling. It's like, it tends to be at the expense of Caitlin, and they don't win games without both of them. And if you want to win a game without Caitlin Clark, you sit her. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, if Caitlin is going to be on the floor, the team's gotta go through her. And the other team wants the ball out of her hands. The other coaches want to do that. And if you're Steph White, you can't just let it happen. Because this is the worst, this just sums it up, doesn't it? You have Jose Fernandez after a game, when asked about the Wings defense, Caitlin, we want to get the ball out of her hands, she's so good, we want to get it out of her hands and just make other people make shots. And again, Kelsey Mitchell had 37, and they came out of the game being like, yeah, can Kelsey beat us by herself? Answer, probably no. We're cool. Kelsey, go drop 40. Like, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, if you guys don't know, combined for their season average in points. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are combining for 47 points per game. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell have 47 points. When it is skewed that as much as it is towards Kelsey, it's one thing. And the worst part is that it's very clear what every other coach's game plan is. Like, they game plan for Caitlin. They don't care what else happens, as they know the difference between Caitlin Clark And Kelsey Mitchell, as you can see, Kelsey Mitchell, in the 3 losses they've had, the Fever have averaged, they had 84, 85. Like, look at the Fever's points. 90, 106, 98, 95, 101. Kelsey Mitchell, 25 points per game. 85, 84, 100. Again, 90 points per game. 5 less points per game. She's averaging 10 more points per game. Every single coach has the exact same footage that we have. Has the exact same knowledge that we have. If you get the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands, the Indiana Fever go from being a 100 point per game team to a 90 or so points per game team. Everybody knows that. And if you get the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands, Caitlin Clark's own coach will not try to get the ball back in her hands. If Caitlin Clark gives the ball up, all they are doing is running the only time she will get the ball back is in a pin down situation. In no scenario, when the ball goes out of Caitlin Clark's hands, is she ever given the ball back in a position to play make. Unless it is a get action with Aaliyah. And even still, the get action is so much less effective than the pick and roll. Like, I get it. It is one of these things where, as a team, the opposing coach's game plan and Caitlin Clark's coach's game plan are the same. And this is why I don't like Stephanie White as a coach for the Indiana Fever. Like, it is, simply put, a completely different philosophy. You have got a chess match coach who is like, oh, I'm going to try, the other coach wants to do this, so we're going to start doing this and this and this and this. And I'm like, Fever's coach, the other team's coaches, yeah, we don't want the ball. We want the ball. We're just going to foul Caitlin. We're going to make it physical. We're going to get her out of rhythm. I can't remember what. There was one team that did the hack a shack on Caitlin. And was like, we don't care if she drops 30. What we're not letting Caitlin do is get her rhythm and taking over the game. And I think everyone understands when Caitlin Clark hits a flow state, you lose. Every decent team knows that when Caitlin Clark gets into those positions where suddenly there's a 5 possession stretch where Caitlin hits a deep 3, Caitlin makes a touchdown pass, Caitlin threads a needle to Aaliyah, she hits another deep 3, she then drives to the basket, gets a layup because you're so worried about the 3-point shot. I can't remember who it was against. It was against Dallas the last time when she had 29. It's like there are so many things where it's like, if Caitlin Clark gets into this flow state, you lose. You lose. And I think that was basically what happened with Dallas. Was like, well, how many points did Kelsey Mitchell have in that game? She probably 26 something, did she? Kelsey Mitchell had 23. Caitlin had 29. And it was you just could not stop Caitlin. And coaches understand that. If you let Caitlin dictate the game, you lose. Because the Indiana Fever score so many points that you're not going to catch them. The problem is that there is only one person that wants Caitlin Clark to dictate a game less than coaches coaching against Caitlin Clark. And it's Caitlin's own coach. You have got a coach who doesn't like point guards dominating the ball, who doesn't like the pick and roll, who wants this to be an isolation basketball team. We see more inverted pick and rolls nowadays than we see true pick and rolls. There's a couple of get action or soft pick and pops that are basically exchanges between Caitlin and Aaliyah. We see more inverted pick and rolls with Caitlin screening for Aaliyah Boston than we do true pick and rolls with Caitlin Clark as the lead ball handler. We see Caitlin Clark more often being the freaking screener in a true pick and roll. So, like, you've got a coach that is opposed. And by the way, Stephanie White's not malicious or anything. Like, someone says Stephanie White gladly did Jose's job for him. Yeah, she does job. Like, I don't know if you understand this, is that Caitlin Clark's having an MVP caliber season. Despite what the coach wants. You can see her reactions. You can see Caitlin starting to second guess things. Like, when things go a little bit wrong. Why? Because she's kind of just doing her own thing. Like, she's kind of just doing her own thing. And, like, if you put her in with Like, if you have her in, like, Reeve's system, and, like, this is what I mean. It's like, I think Olivia Miles is MVP, but I also think if you put Caitlin Clark in that Lynx offense, Caitlin Clark is the unanimous MVP. Like, I think Caitlin's much better than Olivia Miles. But the problem is that that's not what MVP is. MVP takes into account, like, you could be Caitlin could be the greatest player in the world, but if she's on, like, the Storm, she's never won MVP. But, like, if you have the blueprint. You literally have the blueprint. Like, Kelsey Mitchell's better than Courtney Williams. Aaliyah Boston's better than Natasha Howard. And Caitlin Clark is better than Olivia Miles. You have the blueprint. And the maddest thing is that this is still the best offense in the league. Because Caitlin Clark exists. Caitlin Clark exists. And when she goes, she has, of the 32 minutes or whatever she plays, 15 of those minutes, if she has in a flow state where she's killing it in 15 of those minutes, it's over. You've lost. You've lost. And nobody understands that more than other teams. And the only person that doesn't understand it, unfortunately for Caitlin, is her own coach. Like, it's at the stage now where the Stephanie White game plans basically completes the other coach's game plan for them. And it's very common. And the maddest thing is that Caitlin's so much better at basketball now than she was when she was a rookie. And, like, I do believe when Caitlin Clark gets away from Stephanie White, whether that's via trade, whether that's via Steph being fired, and look, Fever losing the first round, nothing's off the table. Literally nothing's off the table if they lose in the first round. We're going to see the unanimous MVP, Caitlin Clark. Okay. I do want to talk about this, though. This is really cool. This is really, really cool. And it's just cool from kind of everybody in general. So obviously, the Fever bandwagon account was a very much beloved account. So Jess was a teacher, and obviously was one of the bigger accounts on the platform, bigger Caitlin Clark accounts on the platform, and unfortunately, very sadly passed away a couple of days ago. And yeah, I think a lot of people it kind of shook a lot of people. So there were a couple of fundraisers in her name that were out there. And of all, and this is one of those things where it's like everyone wants to talk about, these players are bad, this team's bad. And it's like, sorry, wrong thing to click on. So immediately, there's a fundraiser being held in her memory, and Caitlin Clark herself is the top donator. And if you scroll through the donations for this, so obviously here is the fundraiser. If you want to scroll through the donation list, it is literally you're seeing the likes of Pat Boyle, and you're seeing Indiana Fever, so many people in the organization, in and around the organization, donating to this. Caitlin Clark herself with $2K. You've seen, you're seeing a lot of creators. I've seen, Kate, the CC Report account there. You're seeing so many people, and it's one of those things where, it's one of those things now where it is just a all around cool thing. It's all around cool thing. Someone said, why haven't I made a post about the Angel Reese game? I'm not gonna lie. After the stunt she pulled with Sandy Brondello, I'm just not going to I'm just as much as possible going to refrain from ever speaking about Angel Reese in case I accidentally use a wrong sentence of words. But as I've said plenty of times, Angel Reese, exceptional this season. Probably going to make an all-W team, and nearly having a perfect 20-point triple-double is absolutely exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, like, this is genuinely a really, really cool thing. And we're seeing more and more of stuff like this. Like, and not surprising given her character, but classy move, always bigger than basketball. You never really hate her. And like, everyone's talking, like, people are going out here just making shit up. And it's like you've got this person here on the left considered to be the Antichrist by some people. Like I think Caitlin Clark, I think if the literal devil came down to earth, there would be people that would still think Caitlin Clark is a worse human being than the literal devil. But at the same time, really, it is a like, it's one of those things now where it's like, we've got so much evidence of, Caitlin Clark being a decent human being. Like, so many people saying, if you don't do the national anthem my way, you're the devil. Some of these fans are crazy. Yeah. Like, oh no, Caitlin Clark's not even just a political football. Like, she is an object to hate. She is an object to hate. No matter what side of it you are on, like, it is straight up she's absolutely, like, just an object of hate. Or an object even to spread hate. Like, let's be very clear. It's never a one-way street with Caitlin Clark. Like, everyone's like, oh, she's being used to spread hate in one way. No. She's being used to spread hate in all ways. Like, it's not a one-way street. She is literally, in 2023, people decided that Caitlin Clark was either, or I'm not even going to say this, non-basketball fans decided Caitlin Clark was either the devil or she was the martyr. And the reality is, it's just a damn good basketball player. And by the looks of things, again, a damn good human. A damn good human by the looks of things. But yeah, look, it's something that we see time and time and time again. And people are going to forget this, as they always do. They always do. It doesn't really matter what happens with Caitlin Clark. People are going to forget, because they do every single time. Caitlin can do something, then it's, oh yeah, Caitlin maybe isn't that bad, and then all of a sudden Caitlin's the devil. Suddenly the far right wackos turn on Caitlin, and the far left wackos are like, see, they were never your fans in the first place. And then 48 hours later, Caitlin Clark's getting blamed for whatever world crisis is happening on that day. She's getting blamed for whatever world crisis is happening on that given day. So, look, I really don't know. I really don't know in general what more she can do, except just, be a decent human. And yeah, I think overall that's kind of what the way she is navigating. It's probably navigating the best way possible, because the only thing she can do is realistically be a decent human being. And yeah, I don't really see what else she can do. And someone said some will see this and claim she's self-promoting or, doing it for attention. Yeah, some will do that. But I think one of the things that she probably knows is that no matter what she does, it's wrong. No matter what she does, it's going to be wrong. So why not just make your own decisions? Because no matter what decision you make, people are going to say it's wrong. So yeah, that is That is one of those things where we just gotta realize sometimes you cannot win. You just cannot win. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Amber Cox got money as well. That's cool. It's cool. Again, I got no issues with Amber Cox as a human. On a human level, I've got no issues with Amber Cox. That being said, I think she's a bad GM. She's a terrible GM. But yeah, anyway, see you guys. Okay. So we got to talk about this. We've got to talk about one of the biggest fumbles of all time. This is still one of the biggest fumbles in history. The welcome NECA balloons. The welcome NECA balloons. The NECA Wumake took a meeting with the Minnesota Lynx coming into this season. Whose spot would that have been for? Natasha Howard. NECA Wumake is a better basketball player than Natasha Howard. And we all remember the leaked welcome NECA balloons. If NECA Wumake has just announced her retirement from the WNBA after having a horrendously bad season in LA. She got an all-star, which she shouldn't have been. That being said, it's her last year, so it's probably right that she was an all-star. She had the chance of leaving on a chip. She had the chance of leaving on a ring, and she decided, nah. She decided, I'm gonna go and not make the playoffs. I'm gonna go and not even make it to the damn playoffs in my final year. I'm one of the 25 greatest players ever. I'm one of the 25 greatest players ever. And I'm going to go and leave it on I'm going to leave my career on not making the playoffs. On not making the playoffs. That is a mad one. And all she had to do was follow the balloons. All she had to do was be more impressed by the balloons. If she had chose to go to Minnesota, I have no doubt about it, she is a better basketball player than Natasha Howard. I have no doubt about that. Tash Howard started the All-Star game this year. She started the All-Star game. Tash Howard could not catch the ball last year. The Fever, I don't think, tried hard to keep Natasha Howard. They didn't even care about her. They did not even care. And she could have. And she's started an All-Star game and probably going to win a chip. NECA could have been an All-Star starter and a dark horse MVP candidate, because you better believe if NECA Wumake is putting up 18-8 and the Minnesota Lynx were number 1 seed, they'd be talking about her getting MVP. She would, and she's better than Natasha Howard. She is better than Natasha Howard. At nearly every aspect of basketball, she is better than Natasha Howard. She genuinely could have, had she just been more impressed by the balloons. And there's a lot of free agent decisions where it's if you had just, gone there, what would have happened? If Kelsey Plum, instead of being on a struggling Sparks team and then getting traded to a struggling Phoenix team, Kelsey Plum had the ability to go to a Golden State. There was talk maybe about Golden State getting Kelsey Plum. If Kelsey Plum goes to Golden State, they still get Gabby Williams. And they're probably the best team in the league. They probably are. If you add Kelsey Plum to that team, they're probably number 1. As far as I'm aware, the Indiana Fever, they struck out on everybody. I'm pretty sure the Fever struck out on nearly everybody. And then they had to overpay Mo Billings because I think Mo Billings had a few teams that were looking for her. Like, I think a few teams were looking for her as a bench big, so they had to pay her like she was a tier below All-Star. That being said, again, Mo Billings isn't the craziest deal. Like, Temmie's on $1 million. Kennedy Burke's on $1 million. Like, that power forward position is just a weird one. But, where now Plum is going to stay in Phoenix. Why would Kelsey Plum stay in Phoenix? Someone said in chat, Plum will stay in Phoenix. Why would she stay in Phoenix? Kelsey Plum has, like, 2 good years left in her career. Why would she play for a team with a rapidly declining Alyssa Thomas and impact-wise, rapidly declining Alyssa Thomas and a rapidly declining Kalia Copper, both taking up max contracts? So basically, she can't stay on a max. So she's going to have to take she's going to have to take a discount to stay on a team that might make the playoffs. Like, why? Why would she do that? But it's so weird looking at situations like this, thinking how much things could have changed if free agency went a certain way. Like, had the New York Liberty had the money because of how many minimum contracts they have. If the Liberty just said, you know what, we don't want Satu. If they said, we don't want Satu, you're then looking at them potentially bringing in a legitimate bench star. Like, even from their perspective, if they ended up with Moni Billings instead of Satu, they'd be in a much better shape because they hands their only bench big. Unfortunately, they lost Niara in the expansion. Had they just protected Niara might come in as a starting center at times. There are so many things like this, like the Nneka Balloon situation, where this year's free agency could have changed everything, where so many players chose to go to Chicago Sky because they were throwing money at them, and it's been a disaster. Even though, again, the Sky on the court haven't been nearly as bad as people think. It's just because they don't have their own pick. But, yeah, like, it is a mad one. It is a mad one. But still, I genuinely mean it. The fact that Nneka could have retired on a chip. She could have retired on a chip if she was just more impressed by Amazing Balloons, Minnesota. And the maddest thing is that this was before free agency. This got leaked. The welcome Nneka balloons got leaked last year, or prior to free agency. Has she just signed with Minnesota? She wins a second championship. And I don't know, does she cement herself as top 12, 15 of all time? She wins 2. Like, I really don't know. I don't know what way we're talking about it, but yeah, it is an interesting one anyway. And yeah, I hope best of luck in retirement, Nneka. It's not like Nneka's not going to make a lot of money. Like, worst case scenario, she's on ESPN. Best case scenario, she's got a very high paying job in the background of the league. Okay, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this right now for the Indiana Fever. Why does this always happen? Why? Why can the Fever not just have a match? Like, why is this always happening against the Fever? Why is it that if a player is injured and they potentially might come back, why do they always do it against Indiana? Leo Fibish, and if you guys don't know with Leo Fibish, when she plays, the New York Liberty are the greatest team of all time. And I'm not exaggerating. When Fibish is on the floor, the Liberty are technically the greatest team to ever play the sport. The last 2 years, they went, before Fibish's injury in 2025, they were 11-0. They were 11-0 before Phoebus got hurt in 2025. And now this year, I'm pretty sure there's something similar. I need to check what Phoebus's, what the Liberty's record is with Phoebus. Like, they'd either be the top, either one or two, based on how she's played. She is their entire defense. She's literally their entire defense. So, with Phoebus, when Phoebus was playing, the New York Liberty won their first 9 games. Yes, they did lose 4 or 5, but then they won their next 2. So 12-4 is the New York Liberty's record when Phoebus plays. So, second seed. They're the second seed when Phoebus plays. Not only that, they beat Minnesota when she played, and they won the Commissioner's Cup. They are and they beat Vegas as well. So, wait, all their losses when she played, other than Washington, have came against non-playoff teams. They lost to like Seattle and LA when she played, which is mad. But like, of course, the second most impactful player, and I'm not gonna say because Stewie exists, but like the best role player in the league by a mile. She's so good. She's so much of a, be a superstar in your role. She's so good of a role player that I think it's not crazy to say that, like, she's such a good role player that she has entered, like, borderline star category. If you get what I mean. And she's going to play. Oh, and, like, I get it. She's probably just using this to warm up for the World Cup. And I don't know how many minutes she plays, but it really doesn't matter. Because what happens now? Sabrina Ionescu can just guard Lexi Hull. At least Caitlin Clark can take an easier matchup than Phoebus. But Phoebus is 6'4". Phoebus is 6'4". Let's not forget that. She's a giant. She's going to take on the Caitlin Clark assignment. And the scariest part about all this is the Liberty can employ the long zone. If you guys don't know what that is, it is the zone with Phoebus and it only works with the two of them because you have Phoebus and you have Stewie at the top of the zone. They're both 6'4", with Stewie with a 7-foot wingspan, Phoebus probably with a 6'10" wingspan, and you just can't do anything. There is no, like, Caitlin struggles against normal zones, and against this zone, GG's. They're screwed. And they are going to have spells in that zone. And I think the Fever are just not going to be able to answer. Because that is one of the most dangerous things for Liberty. And that's the reason why I still give the Liberty a puncher's chance in the playoffs. Like, Satu's done. Like, Phoebus was like, came out and was like, well, Satu would have done everything she could have to play for Germany in the World Cup. She's really not in a good way. So, like, Satu's done for the year. Satu's career might be over, if we're being completely honest here. Like, Satu might never play again. But, like, why is it always against Fever? Why is it always against the Fever? Always. Every single time it is always against the Fever. They are a team where people always come back from injury to face. Every time. That's their whole goal. We're going to go. We're facing the Fever. Okay, we're going to go and whatever player is injured, whatever player is injured basically should be, is going to come back against us and is going to cook. Because they all do it. And, yeah, it's just one of those things now where it it is really one of those things where you just know what's going to happen. And I think the Liberty, I think the Liberty probably are going to win this game. Again, I'm not going to be able to watch the game because I will unfortunately be on a plane. There's like a 90% chance I'm on a plane. If flight gets cancelled, then maybe if that happens, then maybe I'm back watching this game, but unlikely. That being said, again, I fully expect to get off that flight and see that the Indiana Fever have been beaten relatively comfortably. That would be my expectation. All around, I just feel like that's probably what I'm expecting, and I do think that what Phoebish brings to that zone, and I think they're going to deploy that whenever the Indiana Fever get a bit of rhythm. I think they're going to deploy that zone, and I think overall, it's a really tough one. This team has a completely this team goes to a new level. When Phoebish is on the floor, because there's so many different looks they can throw. There are so many different looks that they can throw at teams. There are so many different looks that they can go and have on offense. She's a spot up shooter. She's so long. Phoebish is one of the 15 best players in the world, not based on individual talent, but based on her impact for a team. And her coming back makes the Liberty legitimately contenders. She has the ability. She's good enough that she has the ability to change the fortunes of a team, which is why I have her top 15 in the league. Straight up, why I have her top 15 in the league. All right, I've got one more video. I got one more video, and then I'm done. Does anyone have playoff 2.5 points a game? She has the most points ever scored in the playoffs by a rookie. What are you talking about? She literally was their third best player when they won a title. She was better in the playoffs in 2024 than Breanna. Does anyone want have a topic to talk about? Otherwise, I'm just going to leave it there. Okay. Got about 10 seconds for someone to put in a topic. Otherwise, I'm going to end the stream right there. Also, lads, could we get to 100 likes? We're at 83 right now. We're at 83. Talk about Angel's 9-9 game. But after the stunt she pulled on Sandy, no. No, she has won. I will talk about it. She was exceptional. Unbelievable. One of the best individual games a player has played this year. All of that is true, but no. No, not dedicating a video after the stunt she pulled on Sandy Brondello. But yeah, I'm going to leave the stream right there. You will probably see me again on live. I'll probably be live before the Chicago game. And then I'll be live for the Chicago game as well. But anyway, yeah, see you guys.